Hey everyone, it's Amy here with One Source Mediation. It's been a couple of days. The last time I checked in, it was Saturday, and I told you that if you are interested in learning about what a typical day of mediation looks like in our office, that you should tune in Monday because we were supposed to have a really big, long mediation. Well, that mediation got rescheduled. They canceled at the last minute due to a medical complication. So if you want to tune in next week, we've got 2 mediations coming up. That will be an awesome opportunity to explain what these parties will be doing all day, hanging out with yours truly. But today I wanted to talk about the 3 C's of divorce. Hello, Blake. I'm glad you're watching. Let's see. The first C is cost. So whenever we get questions, usually one of the first ones that we get is how much does divorce cost? So if you get on the internet, you can find all sorts of different prices out there. From our experience, we have typically seen that they range anywhere between $3,000 and $12,000 in Utah. And keep in mind that that price is per party. So that's not the overall cost of the divorce, that's just per party. So divorce can add up very, very quickly. One of the great things about One Source Mediation is that we have developed a way to cut that cost and reduce that. So if you take the very lowest end of that, which is $3,000, if you basically cut that in half, that's the price you're looking at with one day, one price, one resource. So you're gonna wanna check it out. If you want more information about that, you can find that on our website, which is gotta always have that, onesourcemediation.com is what it is. So you can head over there and check that out. But I wanna get back to talking about the 3 C's of divorce. So we talked about the cost, and when we say $3,000 to $12,000, that's usually for cases that that attorneys would say are simple. And I don't mean that to sound like your divorce case has been easy or that it's simple for you. That's definitely not what I mean. What I mean is sometimes there are more issues that need to be worked through when you have kids or when you have businesses, when you have real estate, things like that. So there are cases that are certainly more complex than others. So when I say easy, that's what we're referring to. It's just that maybe there are fewer items to work through. So the $3,000 to $12,000 cases are typically cases that don't have quite as many things to work through. So just FYI there. Another C of divorce is custody. So this is a word that people hate, and I hate it. And I prefer to use parent time because children are people, and they certainly do have parents, and we love them. But anyway, I just don't like custody, but that's what it is. So custody. So when I was going through my divorce, I learned a lot that there are 2 different types of custody. There is physical custody, which I think is the custody that most people think of when they think of custody. So that's like, where do the kids live day in and day out? Do they live with mom? Do they live with dad? So there's different kinds of custody. And I do want to preface this by saying that we do not offer legal advice. I should have said that to begin with. I am not an attorney. I just know a whole lot about the court process and can provide you with some really good information. On our website, we do link you to the court's website, which will provide legal documentation and backup for all of what I'm about to say. But custody, so there's 2 different types. There's physical, so again, where are the kids gonna live? So you can have what's called sole physical custody, which is where one parent has the kids. You can have joint custody, which is where the kids basically spend a pretty even amount of time back and forth between dad and mom. And then you also have split custody, which is, let's say you have 3 kids. Let's say 2 of them end up living with mom and 1 child lives with dad. So that's what we would call split custody. And then the other type of custody is legal custody. So this is something, and in Utah, typically it usually falls under joint. So a lot of people go with joint. But when we talk about legal custody, we're talking about major decision making. So that usually falls under 3 categories. So there's medical decisions, education decisions, and religious decisions. So that's what we consider major decisions. And again, you can determine if that's going to be like a sole legal custody where one parent will get to make all of those decisions, or sometimes it's joint where the parties work together to make those major decisions. There's not really, I guess there could be a split. I've never personally done that. I guess I'd have to look into that. where maybe the child that lives with you, you would get to make decisions for them, and then the children that live with your would perhaps get to make the decisions for them. So those are the types of custody. And then the last C of divorce is child support. So child support, a lot of times I have people come into my office and they, I don't know how much I'm going to have to pay in child support. How much are they going to owe me in child support? All this stuff. So it's really good to understand that child support in Utah is I shouldn't say it's a simple calculation because there's nothing simple about it. It's like doing taxes. It's ridiculous. But it's just a percentage. So they take your two incomes, and if one party is not employed and they could be, then oftentimes the state will impute minimum wage, which means they will assign that party the sum of $1,257 a month, because that's the federal minimum wage. So then you plug those two calculations in there and they say, okay, mom makes 45% of the income, dad makes 55% of the income. And then from there, it's just a calculation of how much child support is owed. So you can never pay less in child support than what that calculation ends up being, but you can always choose to pay more. And I know that some of you are like, why would you ever pay more? But there are parties out there that really truly do wish to pay more, and they understand that these are their kids. And sometimes when they see that number, it's really not quite as scary as they were thinking. And I think they feel some sense of obligation and responsibility to those kids. And that's why sometimes parties do opt to have an upward deviation, is what we call it, from what the calculator says. So those are the 3 C's of divorce: the cost of divorce, custody, the 2 types, again, physical and legal, and then child support. So I hope that information was helpful. You can get a lot more information on our website, which is onesourcemediation.com. And again, we don't offer legal advice, but we definitely link you to the court's website or to the Utah legislature for references for everything. So it's a great place to just even get connected with the right information that you need. So that's it. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.